Hi students, in this video we will study how actually the digestion process goes on. So as we know, the first part, that's called mouth. Mouth is also called as a buccal cavity. It's also called a buccal cavity. Okay. Now food enters through mouth. In mouth we have teeth and tongue. Okay. Tongue is a muscular organ. Okay, so what had happened that here? Teeth crush and grind food whatever we eat. It is converted into smaller parts where the tongue is helping it to mix this food, to mix this crust or grinded food. Okay, so here there is the one more we call as salivary gland. Now what is the function of salivary gland? We can see the salivary gland. Function of salivary gland is very simple. What it releases? Saliva. It releases saliva. As we know, okay, we have a very good food in the house, and then mouth water comes in my mouth. So what is that? That water is nothing but it's a saliva. It's a saliva which is comes out from the salivary gland. So saliva crust food, tongue help us to mix it, and it is also used to taste the food. The tongue has another also one function, which is to taste the food. How is the food? It's a sweet, sour, okay, such kind of spicy. This kind of a test can be given over there. There are the birds which you have already studied in a ninth standard. Now we are not going further ahead. Now what happened exactly here? The teeth and tongue crust and mixed food along with the saliva. What happened here? The food here, the food which is saliva contain one enzymes which called amylase, which called amylase. Now this amylase enzyme is very interesting one. The amylase enzyme helps to break down. What it do? It does carbohydrates break down into, means the carbohydrate which we call as the starch, into simple sugar. So the digestion starts within the mouth. Here in a mouth we have teeth. Teeth are of different types, that cancer, molars, premolars. Okay, so tongue which help us to taste the food and mix the food thoroughly, and convert it into a ball, and ball goes into the esophagus. Now this food enters into the esophagus. Now this is a pipe. It's like that, okay, bhai, is it the ball? How does the food flow from here? This food pipe, how does the food flow from here? Is it like that, a free fall, like that from the top of the building you throw the ball and the ball goes directly like this? No, there is a one movement where a contraction and relaxation takes place. The gut is between that. I will show you. It's like this. Okay, this is a food pipe. Here is the ball. Okay, so here a contraction takes place. Okay, when it contracts, it pushes that the muscles over here contract, it pushes the food down, and when it get expanded, okay, the food goes down. So expansion and relaxation of muscles present in food pipe, known as one process. This movement is called peristatic. Hold a second. It's called a peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. And through this movement, food goes to the stomach. Now stomach, when we talk about a stomach, what exactly the stomach has? Stomach is very interesting. What is there? Now in the stomach, food is taken through the food pipe, come to the stomach. Stomach is a large organ which expands when food enters. This will get expanded when a food enters. It has a digestive juices. It secretes digestive juices. Now, which are the digestive juices does it secrete? Okay, it secretes an enzyme called pepsin. The first is pepsin, the second is HCl, and the third is mucus. The third is mucus. Okay, so what exactly happened here? When the food comes over here, which is broken down in small part, the digestion, this HCl kills the bacteria which enters along with the food and gives acidic medium So guys, this is very important. Three digestive juices: pepsin, HCl, and mucus. What does HCl do? HCl kill bacteria and it makes the food acidic. So an enzyme which is known as a pepsin digest protein over here. So in stomach, which nutrient get digested? The protein get digested. And what is the function of a mucus? The inner lining of stomach. You see, this is HCl, and HCl એટલે શું? Yes guys, you are right, it's hydrochloric acid, very strong acid. Now would you imagine that is secreted in our body? Yes, people used to say about one word, that is called acidity. Now this is why they called it an acidity, which we will discuss later on. Right now we'll focus on HCl. Now HCl is very harmful. If it is secreted more, it creates acidity. And yes, it can also harm the inner lining of stomach, which is very soft. So to avoid that, mucus is secreted over that. Mucus protects the inner lining. Okay guys, so this is the function, inner lining of stomach. So this is what it happened. The digestion food, the stomach, when food comes in the stomach, digestive juices secreted, pepsin convert protein, HCl kill bacteria and makes the food acidic, so that pepsin can work on it and protein can be digested over that. Now it comes a mucus. So mucus help us to protect the inner lining of a stomach from HCl. So this is what it happens. Now from the stomach, where does this goes? It goes to the small intestine. Where does it go? It goes to the small intestine. Now why this all the process? One simple process. This process simply, it is where here the ending here, this is called a duodenum. Later half of that one is called duodenum, where the exit of food come from stomach and it's entered into the small intestine, where there is a sphincter muscle. Sphincter muscle helps, which releases it in a small amounts. બધા જ એક સાથે ના નીકળી જાય, થોડા કરીને જવા દે. Okay, line by line. કેવું છે અત્યારે? Right now we have a corona, so what we have to stand outside. Why? Because not more than 5 people are allowed in any one of the shop. Okay, wherever you go, even if you go for McDonald's also, they ask you to stand outside. So this the same thing happens. This sphincter muscle are like a guard. They help them. The food, whatever the food comes over there in stomach, after almost 2 hours the food stay over here, and then it slowly small amount of food goes into the small intestine. So the small intestine is the largest part. We can say it's a longest part of alimentary canal. It is having 6.5, but it cannot be shown because it is extensively coiled portion. This is what you can see, it's coiled one. Okay, so herbivorous eating grass need longer small intestine. અહીંયા એક વસ્તુ યાદ રાખજો કે herbivorous eating grass need a longer intestine to allow cellulose to be digested. Okay, and this small intestine differ from man to man or animal to animal. Okay, so what happened? Meat is easier digested, and that's why carnivores have a small intestine. Shorter intestine is smaller, We have in between, why? Because we can eat both, okay, we are omnivorous. So that's what it is here given. One of the interesting thing which can be asked for 1 mark, which I have explained over here. Now let's see how the digestion of food takes place in small intestine, in a small intestine. Now we have a 3 glands related over here. One is liver, one is gallbladder, and one is pancreas. Now, what liver do? Liver secretes bile juice. It secretes bile juices, which is stored here in gallbladder. This is the function of gallbladder, and as and when it required, it releases that into the small intestine. And pancreas releases pancreatic juice. It's called pancreatic juices. Okay, so let's see first what bile juice can do. As we know, from the stomach, HCl is very there. Okay, so the food that is coming from the stomach is uh, acidic in nature. They are acidic in nature, but the pancreatic juices only act when food is alkaline. So who help them? So here comes bile juice for the rescue, and bile juice makes food alkaline. It makes food alkaline. And second thing, when in intestine, the fats are as of very fats are in a large globules. So to break it down, it breaks down the fat. It breaks down the large flat fat into a small globules, and this process is called emulsification. So emulsification of food fats takes place over there. So bile juice has a two function: makes the food alkaline, which comes from stomach, and large fat globules are converted into small globules by bile salts or bile juice, called an emulsification. Now pancreas, what is the function of pancreas? Now pancreas secretes juices called pancreatic juices. Now in the pancreatic juices, it contains two, and the second one lipase. Now what trypsin can do? Trypsin digests protein. And lipase break down emulsified fats. Even in a smaller part. एकदम नाना small parts में कर देने. Okay. So what happened? So this is how the protein is digested with the help of trypsin. Lipase is emulsified. Fats ने small parts में convert कर दे, and then the walls of small intestine. Now the real one, which is called the small intestine. What does this? This is all about the glands. Now this was the gland doing over here. Now in this small intestine, release intestinal juice, and this juice, what they do, finally they contains enzyme. Yes, juice must contain enzyme, and this is what the enzymes are very essential for us, and enzyme convert proteins. Now whatever the protein, trypsin, which is going to digest this one, which proteins into a small amino acids. Okay, then carbohydrates, I will write as a carbs, which is converted into glucose, and then fats into fatty acids. So this is how a digestion goes on over here. I forget to write glycerol as well, fatty acids and glycerol. So this is what in the stomach, in the small intestine, a complete digestion takes place. Now this is what the digestion part takes place. Now how it gets absorbed, now that is the one main important thing, that is called assimilation. So now this amino acids, glucose, fatty acids and glycerol, how they get assimilate, how they get absorbed into the small intestine. So in the small intestine, the canal is like this, okay, but there they have a small finger like projections like this. It finger like projections from where they have, this is called villi. Okay, this is called villi. All, it's a plural is villi, otherwise it's villia. Okay, so what happened, whatever the food comes over there from intestine, they get more surface area, they have a more surface area, and so they get absorbed very easily over here. And after the absorption, what happened, that here this villi contains lots of blood vessels, nani capillaries oil, okay, which absorb this all food which is digested over here, and then whatever the undigested is there comes into the large intestine, where in the large intestine excess water are absorbed. Okay, and when this excess water is absorbed, then slowly and gradually undigested food comes over here and stored as a rectum, in a rectum for temporary, and whenever the pressure increases, it is ejected. Ejection of food takes place through the muscles of anus, which have a anal sphincter muscles, so it exists. So dear students, this is what all about digestion of food in human being. Thank you.